Don't do that.
In the big bilge tank, we'll see you in the know. In the big bilge tank, we'll fix your techie woes. And we'll break things and we'll make things do it all together raking. And we'll raise a cup of grog down in the big bilge tank. In the big bilge tank, come and join us by a crew. In the big bilge tank, we will show you what to do. And we'll hack it till we crack it. And we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up. That's why it's now a bilge tank.
Hello and welcome to episode 003 of the Bilge Tank from Sheffield on Sea.
This time we're going to do a special report on Maker Faire New York, since that's where I was this weekend and we couldn't think of anything else in time.
No, Paul landed at 10:30 this morning, got a train to Sheffield, kind of collapsed into the workshop, and then we dragged him in here. Yeah,
I just dumped a load of videos, so we're going to talk around that and just see what was hot at Maker Faire New York and what we just liked anyway.
Yeah.
Including the free swag.
Free swag.
Free swag.
This is the new version of Google Glass.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. It says making science on the side, so that's a positive message, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Extendable arms. Extendable arms.
Yeah, and it takes a lot less power.
It does take a lot less power than the old model.
In fact, almost no power at all.
Zero. Yeah. They're nice.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to talk about first. Let's talk about the NASA stand, because NASA, they were cool people. So NASA were there. NASA are like the Raspberry Pi Foundation. They're just kind of people you want to talk to because they're doing cool things. They go to space. I think next to SpaceX, they're kind of people we're most interested in because space stuff is cool again.
Are these like microsatellites then?
So these are CubeSats they had on show.
Cool.
That one's not a cube.
Well, cuboid.
Cuboid. That's kind of two cubes stacked up there. Yep. And they were showing off these CubeSats and talking through them, and they were talking through, you might have noticed in passing there that they had a measuring tape as an antenna, which is apparently a thing. They just use a section of measuring tape there.
Oh, because it stands upright.
Is this due to budget cuts, or is that...
It works, and I think when the CubeSat deploys, the kind of measuring tape just kind of goes spring. No, it just springs up, and then goes ridges.
Oh, I see, because of the like curved profile of it. That
makes a perfectly good radio antenna, so that's now part of the doctrine.
And they're always the right length.
Yeah, you can measure it very accurately. And the solar panels here, I asked the dude there who was talking about CubeSats, why do you always have these weird triangular solar panels? Is it a thing? Is there science behind that? And the answer is they have offcuts from other solar panels. So they reuse them on their CubeSats.
Solar panel. I guess it's 2 layers of material, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's just...
It still works, yeah. And they just integrated these very regular offcuts into these kind of CubeSats, which they used to trial things.
Do these actually go into space, or are these more concept-y things?
One of these actually went into space. It was the PhoneSat, where if you looked into it, diagonally through the cube was actually just a commodity Android phone, which has now been space tested.
This has budget cuts written all over it. I'll be honest with you. Cut-offs of solar panels, tape measures as antennas, and an Android phone in the middle.
You spend 5 years...
They didn't even get an iPhone, I'm just saying.
You spend 5 years qualifying an instrument, a magnetometer or accelerometer, trying to qualify it and say, yeah, this should work in space. Yeah. Or, for like 1/10 of the cost, you can just take a really nicely manufactured phone, chuck it up into space and see what happens.
Cool.
And that apparently achieves the same thing for a lot less cost. Anyway, they were great, the NASA people, and they gave us lots of badges.
We got badges!
They were big on the swag.
We're going to be like space cadets and stuff. I think we actually get to go into space if we wear these. Was that the deal?
I think we technically can say we're astronauts if we wear these badges.
Okay.
And we kind of on Mars.
I want to be an astronaut.
But they were there from the CubeSat division. They had people from the logistics. So one of those is the Launch Services Program, and they basically they organise plane flights for space shuttles and things. So you say,
really blurry.
"Hello, okay. I would like my CubeSat or whatever to go to here in space," and they say, "Yeah, I'll find you a slot on this rocket." And then they arrange the transportation of it and all of that.
Sweet.
There's kind of these things you never really think about with space launches. There is the little details like that.
I didn't think I could get a slot on a rocket. I mean,
well, you talk to these guys, they can make that happen.
The number's on the back.
Yeah. So the next time I want to send something random into space.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
It has to be cube-esque. That's the only criteria.
Yeah, the luggage restrictions are really quite stringent.
What, worse than EasyJet?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject at the moment.
Yeah, we're flying to Maker Faire Berlin at 3 a.m. So
Tomorrow.
I've just got back from New York. We're doing Bilge Tank. I'm going to go sleep and pack at the same time. And then at 3 a.m. a taxi is picking us all up. And pretty much the whole of the Pimmeroni crew are going to Maker Faire Berlin, which is the inaugural Maker Faire in Berlin, which we'll talk about in a bit. Okay, moving on. Next up, I think Glowforge was kind of the big draw of Maker Faire, because they've reinvented the laser cutter.
Oh, this is that laser cutter I was checking the link around on.
They call it the 3D laser cutter.
This is the one that they kind of show off in the product photos in the middle of a kitchen, with no kind of fume problems or anything. Obviously.
Yeah. And they were showing off all the things you can make with a laser cutter, and really, it's a commodity laser cutter. It's a CO2 laser cutter, which is the same that we run at Pimmeroni. It's a 40-watt tube. So far, it's the same as a lot of laser cutters you can get from Just Add Sharks, that kind of thing. The thing they've really done well is they have this web-based software that sits in the middle, imports your files, and takes camera feeds from the laser cutter. And with this, they do things like auto-calibration. So you put your MacBook in there to be etched, and the camera will take a picture and go, hey, it's a MacBook, and we'll line up designs on it. So in terms of making laser cutting more accessible to a lot of people, they're using web software to do that. What happens though is if the internet goes down, then you can't laser cut. And they address that. You were telling me about this.
Well, this was posted on Hacker News, and while the product looked cool, there was a lot of kind of kickback on the fact it was closed source firmware and the kind of always cloud connected thing. But I think the next day they actually posted an update saying they were going to open source the firmware. I'm not sure what the situation on the cloud software was, but it feels like a product like this, the cloud stuff should only ever augment the functionality. You should always be able to do the core feature without having to connect to the internet or someone else's service.
Not a Ubisoft game, basically.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's a non-zero chance these guys just go out of business and all that gets shut down. And then what do you do with your £3,000 laser cutter? It's not a good way to work.
So they've committed to releasing the firmware at least, so if people care about making it work without their software, they can. And we'll see what happens with taking on the challenge there.
It's a good first step.
Yeah, they're just trying to do something different. They're trying to make people be able to make the things that we've been making with laser cutters, but without all the, oh my word, how do I do that? They're marrying up ideas, and they're doing a really neat looking unit for a really good price.
Price was pretty good.
$2,000.
$2,000, yeah. Which is
pre-order.
Good for like a small desktop size laser printer.
And if you shill it to your friends, you get $100 off everyone who buys it.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they do Etch-Sketch add-ons, like 2 rotary encoders, so I can just sketch with it?
You could probably hack that through the web software if you
Only
ask
in the
them
cloud.
nicely. Yeah.
Only via the cloud.
But they seem to have the right vibe, and I think, we'll see what comes out of it. It was good to see them doing that, because they apparently have time to do all the projects we don't get time to do on laser cutters, like Settlers of Catan boards. There was your average, there was loads of Arduino spins, so Micro Arduino, which is stackable pogo pinny, Lego-y type stuff going on with Bluetooth modules.
Was that a Kickstarter too?
Yeah.
Very little bits kind of aesthetic to it, but it stacks vertically right, and the pogo pins are like board-to-board interconnects.
Yeah.
And Lego compatible.
Yeah, Lego compatible. So that looked pretty cute. Again, not sure about the price, but I think it was pretty pricey.
Oh, I love this.
This was the Ardu Boy.
They're awesome.
Very, very
Plain circuit boards. They were selling the developer edition, which was just the bare board, for a premium over what the Kickstarter went for.
Oh, dude, I didn't know. Where is it?
Yeah, I didn't get one. Sorry.
Whoa.
There was only so much space in the luggage.
Yeah.
I filled my luggage. More about that in a bit. I was also talking to Erin from Modular, and the thing with Micro Arduino and the Modulo, we have Flotilla. There are all these modular building systems coming out, and there's going to be a big dust up about which one does the thing best. And Erin used to work at Pixar in engineering, kind of working on the rendering software, which is really cool, and then decided want to do the electronics now, and came up with Modulo, which is really pretty, really good modular system with just kind of slidey rail board interconnects. So had a chat there, and that was great fun. Also saw another Kickstarter that's just launched from Seed Studio.
Oh yeah.
The Rephone.
Yeah.
Now this was shut up and take my money, because it looked like a GSM phone development system, for about $12 at the base end, which is just amazing.
$12 gets you what though? I mean, just the GSM
Just
module,
kind of the GSM
screen
module,
as well,
but then the screen and stuff was also pretty cheap. Seed tend to be pretty reasonable about this stuff.
Yeah.
But then I was talking to Lemore from Adafruit, and she says that it looks like the firmware on the actual phone bit is not going to be that hackable.
Right.
Based on the chip they're using, which is a bit of a shame. Because that was the aesthetics, that was the bit that interested me the most.
I mean, this is definitely an interesting system, but it's not. In no way is it really like a modular get into electronics thing. This is quite advanced. It's like FPC connectors everywhere, but for the kind of things it's designed for, it's kind of perfect.
They look incredibly fiddly too.
So we'll see how that pans out. But I was kind of all excited about that, and then Lemore kind of made me sad again.
Oh,
yeah.
Why do you do that, Lemore?
I know. It was in a kind of happy way, but yeah, you know. Technology Saber was there, and we got to see a microbit in the flesh.
Well, I saw one a week before in Leicester, and that's pretty glamorous.
But there's more people can actually see it there.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. We had the Katronic guys in today, kind of wave soldering secret stuffs.
Oh yeah.
You may have seen that on Twitter. But it was good to see it there, so you could actually press things and see it light up lights and just kind of stroke it a little bit. And yeah. We still think we could have done it better, but hey, it's good to see something.
The feature set is great. Like, what's built onto the board, there's a lot of stuff you could do with that, but the edge connector...
Yeah. I'd say I'd like to see it made into an actual game cartridge, because it's got the edge connector. You're going to be blowing into slots anyway. You might as well have a little games console. You can slot the microbit in.
That's what I said to you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to have a new generation of children who used to like blowing into the slot before they insert the microbit. And it'd just be like NES all over again.
Yeah.
But if you could write your game on that and then plug it into a console and have a couple of controllers and maybe video out.
I think like microbit, the most interesting thing about it is the fact that there's going to be 1 million given away, and that makes an ecosystem straight away. But the connector is horrible.
Yeah, and then does it kind of carry on afterwards? Really?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Is 1 million enough to seed it? Like to the point where
if it's people support it and produce the accessories for it that people are going to want, and as you were saying, it becomes the brain that you then plug into something else.
Yeah, so like you have a buggy or something.
Everyone can share one robot. They can write their code separately, then plug that in to make the robot drive around. It's actually quite novel. It's like having an SD card that's a little bit more of a tangible thing.
Which for schools makes a lot of sense because you offload the expensive stuff like the robot chassis as a single unit, but you give all the kids the like £5–10.
Now program your code, plug it in, and away you go.
One thing I will say about Microbit is the web stuff looks great. They only launched the website about a week ago or a little bit more, and the programming environment looks really slick. You can run emulations of the code that you've run in the browser, so you don't even need to use the physical Microbit to test stuff, and that's pretty cool.
Felt pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
The completion was a little kind of weird, wasn't it? Trying to pick the right thing. I
like the
vibe program,
and it's early days.
Yeah.
So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But there was a programming language where you kind of built it out of verbs, so it wasn't quite like playing Monkey Island, but it had that kind of thing where you pick one thing and then it would offer you the relevant contextual choices, and you were writing text code, but by clicking on options at the bottom. And I'm not a big fan of. I think stuff like Scratch works quite well, but it does mask code quite a lot. Whereas this was almost like an in between. Between typing text, typing code, and kind of the point and click approach, which was nice. Yep.
And surprising as well was Evil Arduino were there. Evilduino. In case you've not been keeping up with the controversy, Mummy and Daddy are fighting. So there is now Arduino.cc, who we love and are good, and involves Massimo and Tom Igo. And then there's the Italian contingent, which are Arduino.org, who, I think most of the makers we know are kind of like frowning and going, guys.
We don't like that.
Yeah, but they were there kind of, bigging it up and kind of wearing shades and looking,
Yeah, why do they look like Russian mafioso?
I don't know, it's just a look, it's one way to go.
It is.
I think some makers, like that. But they were showing off different boards and robot arms. It was all quite slick, but it was kind of like, we like the other people better there. Got to talk to Massimo for once, and it was like,
which is awesome.
Hey Massimo, when can we get Genuinos? And hopefully we'll be getting those in stock fairly soon.
Just to explain, in the EU, Arduino.cc will start to be called Genuino, or at least the boards will start to be called Genuino. So they've basically just shifted brands because of some trademark issues, and it's messy.
Just kind of end run around it.
Basically, we will be stocking Genuino when it's available, so you'll see that coming up on our site pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah. And Massimo heard of us. It was kind of like, "Hey, senpai finally noticed me." That was good, yeah. And
excellent.
Yeah, they're always around, kind of talking to makers and just generally being kind of good people who are there talking to the maker community and making good stuff. So yeah.
There's some really exciting changes coming to Arduino/Genuino as well. The new versions of the software are a lot better. They're adding support for third-party boards, so you can set up stuff that we're working on at the moment. You'll actually be able to add a feature into Arduino IDE that makes it compatible with our boards as well as the Arduino kind of Genuino originals. Yeah. So stuff like that is really nice because it opens it out a lot more.
We need to stop fighting as soon as possible and get on with it though. That's the main thing, because this kind of uncertainty is just no good for anyone really.
No.
Yeah, and it hurts them the most. In other esoteric things, there was a wire bending machine, which I kind of enjoyed.
Where's the machine? What's the thing?
So the machine's over here.
Okay.
Let's go over to the machine.
Oh, this is like, I've seen videos of how they make chain links and paper clips before, and it looks very like that.
And yeah, it finally goes into action at some point, but it just feeds the wire through, bends it to a certain angle, keeps doing it. And we wanted this for some reason at some point, and I cannot remember why now.
Wire stands?
Wire stands, maybe, yeah. They were actually bending some plastic tubing as well on the day, and that works pretty well on a cold bend.
We need a line bending tool.
For perspex, for acrylic, right? Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you'd want to build yourself, though. G would almost certainly build one of those, just because he was feeling kind of frisky one day. And given the kind of I'm with Ahmed things in the US, they was actually quite light on kind of the tie-ins. The only one in the Maker Shed I saw was this from Nootropic Design, diffusible clock kit.
This is definitely bandwagon stuff, but we like it. It's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure they had that kit in the first place and they just put that.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Too right.
Why wouldn't you?
It's very relevant, very now.
But it's good to say that it's not a bomb. It's just a clock being pulled apart and put into a new format. And kids should be doing this. Everyone should be doing this to learn about stuff and play with forms and get to the next stage. And fortunately, the maker community stood up and said, "Yeah, that was a bad move. Let's support this guy."
For the record, a real bomb probably just looks like some explosives strapped to a mobile phone.
Yeah. The whole kind of some explosive things.
It's a factor.
Having them in the mix would kind of support the bomb theory a bit more.
The big tank of the red stuff and the big tank of the blue stuff, and then
the tubes between them
together. Yeah, if you don't have that, it's definitely not a bomb.
Right. I mean, does it matter what flavour it is in a real bomb? The syrup?
Strawberry? Maybe strawberry.
Yeah, and then there were other random robot things.
So this is this actually Lego? No.
No, it's not Lego-esque. It might work with Lego. And there was also Adafruit's Internet of Things Windows 10 core pack there, which has just come out.
Someone has asked us whether we'll be stocking this, and the answer is yes, of course.
What actually does it contain?
It's basically a load of stuff for prototyping projects with the IoT stuff. So I think similar to our Explorer Hack Pro parts kit, it's just a standardised set of parts to work with their examples.
I need to check out the IoT stuff again, because the first time I checked it out, it didn't support repurposing like SPI pins as regular GPIO pins. So also, some of our add-ons just would not work.
You were quite grumpy at the time, I think.
I'm always
grumpy
when it comes to
accept
Windows.
it.
It's like, Windows, no, why?
But yeah, we'll definitely stop this. I think this is basically a prelude to Adafruit doing some Windows IoT stuff on their learning portal.
I think you just got all these kind of Microsoft-based tools people coming into making and saying, okay, I can do Internet of Things now, and they're saying what's available, and Adafruit are saying, here's some stuff people use a lot in a box, just to help you get started.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, just a gentle introduction to useful
I kind of
things.
want to build drivers for all of our products, but I need to go back and see what it's like now.
So who was actually selling this? Did Adafruit have a stall, or was this?
This was just in the Maker Shed. They had some in there, stocked in there. The Maker Shed is a big barn with all the products that Make want to kind of push away and say, hey, you saw it here, take it home.
Did they have our products?
They had our products there, yeah.
Where's the photo?
I didn't take the photo because
you didn't bring me the seed phone thing. You didn't bring me the Arduino Game Boy.
All you have to do is get on a plane, man. That's all I'm saying.
What have you done for me lately?
I'm tempting you there. I'm giving you something to live for. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, that was there, and the Maker Shed was a lot brighter this year because normally it's a bit dark and it feels like somebody's kind of tipped products onto tables. This time they rearranged things at the fair and it all felt a bit nicer.
Cool.
And then, because the reason I didn't have any space for the Arduino Boy was I went to the Printrbot stall and
This is what Paul bought back in his hand luggage.
that actually fits in my carry-on luggage. It's a Printrbot Play. I bought my first 3D printer.
Wow, you were going to eventually.
So it's Arduino Boy all that, and I went for that because that's why it's space in the luggage.
You could fit like 30 Arduino Boys in this. You realise that?
All that air gap.
That's
What
fine.
did you have in the
This
air
is where
gap?
your underpants were, right?
Yeah, pretty much
fine.
packed in the middle just to, The TSA was surprisingly understanding. Printrbot, Adafruit sell them. They're nice folded steel, powder coated.
Really
It's
nice.
very
actually.
solid. Yeah. I like the powder
think
coating.
so.
White. Didn't we have a problem with white powder coating?
No,
Honestly, is this powder coated or painted?
It looks like it's powder coated.
I think it's
It's
painted.
got that speckled
It could
texture.
be
is that
painted.
I
not
think it's
powder coated?
painted, but it looks really nice. I like it. I'm impressed
Yeah.
actually.
But the Play as well, they charge the same price assembled and not assembled.
Right.
Because they found people were trying to save money building 3D printers or buying them unassembled and then having problems kind of calibrating them right.
Yeah.
So for this they said, we're just going to offer the same price assembled or unassembled because then if you're buying it unassembled, you're doing it for the right reasons.
For the love of assembly.
It's the same thing we have with kind of kits that need to be soldered. Having to solder it is another barrier.
Yeah, definitely. It is nice though. I'm quite looking forward to hooking this up and giving it a go.
Yeah, it's got quite a small build volume. It's I think 100mm by 100mm by 130, so just big enough to 3D print a Pybo, which is no coincidence.
Place to put the PLA reel, or is it?
There is an attachment that goes on top.
There's a little bracket that goes on top of that. That's the only assembly you need to do.
Real
Where that goes.
Unscrew 4 screws, put that on. The reel goes around there, and they include a little bit of filament there. Yeah.
Cool.
All the fun bits.
So we're going to see how that goes and see if we might stock a 3D printer, but we might not.
We might. We'll
We're
give it a go.
lazy
If we
kind of
like
people.
it, we may well.
Yeah. Was there anything else? Yeah, after that, kind of the fair was over for me. So I went to Barcade in Brooklyn. Did my now yearly.
This is total vanity. Come on, do it.
So I go to Barcade in Brooklyn. They have the original Bubble Bobble machine, which, if you look at what's behind Phil's head, you got Bub and Bob there, kindly made by Monkey Made Me's kids, James Mitchell's.
Thanks, James.
And there's my high scores I put in the machine.
Him.
So it wasn't my high score ever, but my top score was over 1 million, so I was kind of happy with that.
You were only there for 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, that was like an hour of good play. That's how I unwind in New York.
Excellent.
I go and play Bubble Bobble until my eyes bleed. And I got the t-shirt.
Hey!
So
Bucket.
I've got another t-shirt to wear, which was fortunate because then I could feel nice and comfortable on the plane.
Excellent.
Yeah, Maker Faire New York, it's a good vibe, good city. Got to see Adafruit, got to see Arduino, got to see the Pi guys. They were doing SenseHat examples. So they had this SenseHat setup and they had editor software, and kids were coming in and making animations and playing them on the SenseHat. And
what was the software they're using then for that?
It was just some custom software they've written. The engineers at Pi have written this.
Oh, cool.
It'll probably end up being on GitHub at some point, I think. It was a nice gentle introduction to affecting the Pi. And it was just a Python script as well, so you can start pulling it apart to do other things, I'm pretty sure.
Very nice.
But it's very nicely done. Cool. And for that they got a red Best in Class ribbon
this
year. First time. So
very nice.
Well done, guys. It was
Congrats,
good hanging
Pi. The SenseHat is awesome.
Yeah,
it
we
is.
like it. Bang for buck, it's yeah.
So it sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah.
And you went to see Adafruit as well and just catch up with those
They
guys.
have
And
such
see
a
what
nice factory.
Wow.
And all the coolest stuff.
we are well gel. That means jealous for people who aren't as hip as me.
Yeah.
Okay, James Mitchell is desperate to know how much the 3D printer costs, I think.
That was $399 assembled.
Really?
It's not bad.
That's
So
pretty
not
good.
bad build
Very
quality.
good.
Fully
I thought it
assembled,
was more than that.
quality, reliable 3D printer.
It does look like it will win a fight with another 3D printer if you put them on long lengths of string and play conkers with them.
Yeah.
Cool. And
I
what,
think,
Adafruit sell that, do they? Or who sells that?
Adafruit kind of stock them, yeah. You can get it direct from Printrbot, but the shipping costs to Europe are pretty high. RoboSavvy are supposed to sell it in the UK.
Okay.
I didn't check whether they have stock of the Play in particular, but they do bigger ones, which are the Printrbot Simple and the Printrbot Plus, which are I think $600 and $1,000.
Are they just basically better specs, bigger bed?
Yeah, bigger beds, slightly different specs. The top one does ABS printing as well, because in terms of filaments you get various plastics. The thing about the Play is it has the new extruder they've developed, which is very good for PLA and NinjaFlex or flexible
that's
things,
cool.
which we might have a play with.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll let you know how it goes in another episode. With our foray into 3D printing.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Ooh, there was See Me CNC who do Delta bots.
Delta
3D printers, yeah. They're the ones with kind of 3 arms.
They're like Big Day of the Triffids, don't they?
Yeah, well, they go like that. And they have...
They go like this.
Yeah.
Is it dead one of those?
And they have surprisingly good accuracy. They had a massive one there that was 10 feet tall.
Wow.
Still printed. It took forever to print stuff, but it was pretty cool. It was huge. It was a nice centerpiece for Maker Faire.
Cool.
So there is my book report on what I did on my holidays.
Well done, A+.
Thank you.
Your work's really improved this year.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And next up, we're in Berlin this weekend. So if you want to come and see us at Maker Faire Berlin, we have a stall in the main building. I don't know. We have a
first floor maybe. We're with James, who's running the Raspberry Jam Berlin stall, and he's got some kick-ass demos.
So definitely come and find us if you're there. And yeah, we've got more exciting news about Europe coming in the future. So
yeah, because Germany, Ich bin ein Berliner.
Been practicing your German then.
Yeah. Berlin is the first Maker Faire there, and Berlin is just such a great city. Mark, our kind of buyer, angry picture taker guy, loves Berlin to bits.
Yeah.
And yeah, we think Berlin Maker Faire is going to go really well. So it is October the 3rd and 4th at the Postbahnhof, which is next to the Ostbahnhof, which is East Railway Station.
Okay.
And it's a really good looking building, and Berlin's ace, so tell everyone you know, because we'd like everyone to come and make it a real big success.
Definitely, and we'll have some of our swag on the stall, and we'll have some demos. There'll be like a piecade set up, and just stuff like that. Really,
we'll be running a discount on the shop and giving good prices in person, and just generally talking pie and pimmeroni to people.
Super.
Yeah. Okay.
See you next week.
See you next week, folks.
Bye bye.